Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome back to another edition of Ask Us Anything with the Wolves of Wall Street. I am your host, Nexus. Today, we bring you once again DePo.io, a fan favorite, actually, in this community. There were a lot of people who tuned into the last DePo show, so we think this one's going to be a banger because there's a lot of cool stuff we want to talk about and some uncool stuff as well, but we'll get there when we get there. As always, everything, and I mean everything that you guys are going to hear on this program is opinion and information content only. This is not meant to be taken in any way as financial advice, and nothing that you will hear represents the entirety of all of the opinions of the team or the community of Wolves of Wall Street, vice versa. Also the entirety of the community and team at DePo. And with that said, Mr. Dunham, welcome back.
Hey, super excited to be here again. Let's get it.
All right. Now, normally I'll prepare a script, but this show is special. I didn't prepare a script for this show because I think what we have to talk about is a little bit more free-flowing. So I just figured that the best place for us to start with DePo right now is essentially give us sort of a brief history and summary of what has happened in between the time that you last talked to us and today. There's been a lot that's happened. And we want to, for those at least who are here with us in the beginning, we would like to give them a recap.
For sure. So since last time we talked, there's a lot of good, some bad. We've essentially remade our entire back end. On the development side, we've over tripled our development resources, and we've replaced a lot of our development resources as well. We made a lot of marketing partnerships. We've built further into our product line, and there's just been a lot. And I mean, did you want me to touch on anything specifically, Nexus?
Yeah, let's begin, I guess, with the drama surrounding the liquidity wallet.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So essentially what happened is we had a former CTO who, we trusted, and he seemed like a great guy. He was getting work done for the most part, but towards the end of his time here, he just started to slack off. He wasn't hitting targets. He was just missing for hours and hours on end. And he was just causing a lot of issues. And we ended up actually hiring another option for what could be a future CTO in the case that we were going to have to let go of this guy. And I mean, the guy, he came in and he just started working his butt off, and he gave us a whole new definition of what a CTO should be. And due to all the issues we were having with our former CTO and all the good things that were going on with our new guy, we just decided to let him go. And lo and behold, a couple days later, I guess there was a backdoor or an exploit that he left in our rewards wallet for our staking pools, and he exploited it and sold the tokens on the open market.
Wow. How much did he get?
18 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What effect did that have on the price of DePo? I imagine that tanked you guys.
Well, it did for a little bit, but our community is extremely strong. I mean, they bought it right back up to 12 cents. It hit like 4 cents, and then it bounced back up to 12 cents. That was literally like $30 million in volume that day. We were number one on Dex Tools. And yeah, I mean, people understood what happened. They realized like it wasn't a actual smart contract issue. Like their funds were never at risk. It was just an issue with the rewards wallet. So yeah, I mean, people bought back in, and it brought the price back up.
But in the meantime, in the meantime, you had this malicious, I guess, former employee at that point who basically pulled the liquidity out of the reward wallet.
Yeah. Yep. And I would even say like that was the worst part. So when when he did that, I messaged him because I mean we knew it was him. Like we couldn't like technically prove it until we had our case built up and talked to the FBI and all that, which I'll get into. But he also had a bunch of developers that he had brought onto the team, and they left as well. So we were just, you know, cut and dry. Like lost 75% of our dev resources, and which I'm glad to say we've gotten back like times 10. But at the time, it was one right after the other. Like these negative things happening.
So the liquidity gets stolen. How long until you guys contacted law enforcement?
I think it was literally the next day, and we're still liaising with law enforcement. So, I mean, I've opened up a case with the FBI, opened up a case with Interpol, starting in the UK. We've asked native citizens from the country that he resides in to open up cases with their local um, law enforcement, and I mean, we even called his national police. Um, and of course, I mean, there's some going on that I can't really discuss right now, in case
Naturally,
he's
there's
listening in on.
ongoing
But
investigation, plus you never know. You're right, he could be listening to the show right now.
yep, yep. Because he did actually follow the project for a little bit after he did this, because as people were pulling out, we didn't want them to lose their rewards. So I'd watch the wallet literally like 24/7. Like me or the team and I would watch the wallet. I'd send micro amounts in so people could pull out. And there was several times where he took like tiny little bits just to just to be hateful, like literally like $100 worth. And so we know that that he's been watching, so we've been trying to move in silence.
Wow.
But yeah.
So, I guess to the limited degree that you can or are able, what steps did you guys take after contacting law enforcement to protect DePo,
So
that is?
yeah, to protect DePo. And that's the most important part. You know, there's gonna be bad actors. There's gonna be people that hate the project, but we're still gonna push forwards.
Well, did you
I mean,
was there any immediate steps that you as team lead saw immediately, like, okay, now that this has happened, what can we do to protect DePo?
yeah, we pulled all of the liquidity out immediately of every reward wallet, and then with development, I kicked everyone out of all the different like development accounts, like Vercel, you know, the databases, GitHub, and we completely switched our development processes around. So
Okay.
now everyone, yeah, now everyone that comes on board, they have an individual repository and they never have access to our full code base. They have to contribute individually, and they have to test their own code individually. And we also partner with Certic. We have an audit coming with them, and a Skynet with them. Major audits for every like new major feature coming out, and yeah, like QA, more DevOps, and more robust practices in general.
Okay. How you said there were some developers that your malicious guy brought in along with you. Um, did you get rid of those people too, just out of a sense of, I guess, caution?
Absolutely. Um, so one of them actually tried to exploit us as well, which was funny. He and this is
Really?
definitely going to be a soundbite. But yeah, so what happened was when this, of course, this happened out of the blue. Some of the guys that he had brought on, one of them was working on our API, and he locked it, and he tried to exploit us to pay him like a ridiculous amount of money to access our API. So you know what our new CTO guys, or you know what our CTO, or you know what our new CTO does?
What?
He hacks the developer that was trying to exploit us. He hacks him, reverse engineers his code, and we have the full API back. And then we just terminate him immediately. It's like, see you,
Wow.
buddy.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
shocking. You would think, if I was a bad actor working with another bad actor and the chief bad actor got discovered, you would think that means I should cover my own ass and try not to make too many
you'd think
waves.
so.
Well,
I think a lot of these. I think a lot of these guys made it big in 2017, and they feel like they can keep getting away with this. Because actually, like later on, what we figured out was we tied the former CTO, the bad actor, back to several projects he worked with before, and he worked at several projects around the time that they got hacked, but they were never able to trace it back to him.
Okay.
So, yeah, what we're hoping is that we track him down and we bring him to justice, and all the money that he exploited out of every single project gets put right back into the market, or at least the money for DePo gets put back into the market, and then maybe we could donate the rest or whatever. I want this guy to face justice.
Absolutely. So, you've gotten rid of a bunch of guys who used to work for you because they were brought in by this one guy who obviously couldn't be trusted. How do you rate at current moment, after having cleaned house, how do you rate the strength of your development team?
100 times better. Easy.
Okay.
Easy. I mean, our CTO now, he was a lead engineer at Samsung, and he's written
Whoa.
academic papers. He's worked with a top 3 project in the space. They actually wanted to adapt one of his theses that we're working on right now, but they wanted to keep it for themselves and charge millions of dollars for it. So this guy he's on another level. And then we have, I mean, just manpower alone, we have like 3 times as many developers now, but they're all better. Like they've all gone through more robust hiring practices. Our structure is so much better. Our whole pipeline is better. It's not even comparable. I mean, one of the things we're working on right now, which I mentioned with our new CTO, is we can essentially 10x the productivity you see now, because we're developing a sort of code generator that can work within React, it can work within smart contracts, regardless of if they're EVM or non-EVM. And even a non-developer can go in there and type in the parameters and basic colors and border sizes, and the thing generates the code. It generates code for front end, back end, and smart contract. And it literally, like, you don't have to type every single line. It just does it for you, which is insane. And yeah, there's a lot going into that. Like, I'd say we're 100 times stronger than we were before, easy. And if that's what needed to happen to get us on the level we're at now and the level we're gonna be at, then I'd let it happen again.
DePo has a lot of really awesome ambitions for spreading adoption and lots of cool, I guess, relevant projects or side projects in a sense tied to it. Were any of the features of DePo, was their development impacted by this malicious activity?
Absolutely. So when this happened, our API was shut down for a little bit. He hacked him, he got it back up. But I mean, there was also other like big ticket issues down the road that we've had to re-pick up on, and there's also stuff going on that our former CTO said was we were making good progress on, but when we looked into it, we essentially had to start over again. But I can say that, now that we've been rid of him for over a month now, we've made all the progress back easily in all these areas. And there's actually several updates that we're about to be holding on to, and we're gonna pull our community, see if they want them to be released during this time, with the markets the way they are. But yeah, we're back, and we're better than ever. And those projects that did get delayed, they're not delayed any longer.
Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is that in the short term, yes, the roadmap and the features were affected by the malicious actors. However, the reshuffling and restructuring also kind of enabled you to, at the same time, make some progress that you weren't making before. Have I got that right?
Yeah, much more
Okay.
progress.
Okay, cool. Since having cleaned house, have you guys added any new features to DePo?
Yeah, so we are actually moving this. I think it's like 6 months ahead of schedule. Um, but we're working on a proprietary NFT marketplace right now. And this
Really?
is a move. Yeah, we actually made this move recently because we were already going to launch an aggregated version, but with what happened with LooksRare, them draining like 30,000 ETH from their community, and OpenSea,
I
them
was just gonna
the
say the
V2.
OpenSea attack was
Yeah,
brutal.
yep. I mean, with both of those things happening, we just saw a market need for what we do, like who we are and how people can trust us. So we've really been hammering down hard to get this proprietary marketplace up and running.
Okay. Anything to tell us about the NFTs? Chains you'll be releasing on, or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So our proprietary marketplace, obviously it's going to be native to DePo, but we're also going to aggregate other platforms. So OpenSea, Rarible, Nifty, even looks rare, and essentially is just a way for everyone that prefers those marketplaces to get on DePo and realize how much better we are in the sense that we aggregate them, and that our fees will be 2 times less than OpenSea's. And
Ooh.
and yeah, I mean there's a lot. Our UI looks very clean, and there's gonna be staking options and all sorts of stuff.
But yeah, you heard that here, folks. That's not a 50% drop. That's not a 100% drop. That's a 200% drop in fees. So that's pretty awesome. Um, are you
Sure.
planning on integrating Wax Atomic Marketplace at all? Because I know we have a lot of fans of Wax in the house.
Yeah, actually, now that you bring that up, I think you mentioned them last time. Do they have an API that you're aware of?
I'm not sure. I would imagine they do, but they might keep it close to the chest.
We'll check that out. And as a little gift to the Wolves of Wall Street, if they have an API, we can definitely look into adding them.
Okay. Well, that kind of concludes the free-flowing direction that I had, at least as far as the initial drama of the liquidity wallet. For now, I'll start to pull from community questions and just follow up as needed.
Okay.
First question we have from Devil, who writes, "Does DePo have the complete security for holding, and is it safe to hold DePo?"
Yeah, and I'd say, within the next 6 months, it's going to be safer to hold Depot than it'll be to hold the US dollar. So what I mean by this is that every holder of Depot is going to be paid via a revenue sharing system. We're going to be sharing 50% of the revenue across all of our products. So that's
Wow.
swaps, that's the NFT marketplace, that's the bridge, that's the multi bridge, that's proprietary sex eventually. That's literally everything. 50% of everything will be distributed to our users. And not only that, but there's also going to be an index of Bitcoin, gold, and the US dollar backing each individual depot token. And I mean, the idea with that is to essentially keep the volatility and the inflation below what the US dollar is currently doing right now.
You
And
said
yeah,
BTG, Bitcoin Gold?
Bitcoin, no, BTC, gold, and the US dollar.
Oh, Bitcoin, Aurum Gold, and the US dollar. Gotcha. Okay. Just making sure. Devil also has an included sort of side question. What are all the future ideas for DePo? Honestly, if we were
Oh,
if we
no.
were going to talk about every idea that DePo has for the future, we'd probably be here all day and never ask another question. DePo's a very
Yeah,
catch-all kind of platform.
absolutely.
Okay. Devil asks, his final question, recent events that have happened in DePo. I'll go ahead and recap that real quick for a lot of people who are here now. DePo had a liquidity wallet rug pull by a malicious developer who was slacking off and giving them some red flags, but obviously not complete confirmation of their black hattery until the price was in the floor and the liquidity wallet was empty for the rewards.
It was the rewards wallet,
Yeah, specifically this affected rewards and not
not
general
the user
holders.
funds.
Yeah.
Yep.
He Devil also asks about DePo price speculation. The answer to that is whoever we're talking to is bullish on their own project. Okay, Sarge asks, have you implemented insider threat training? This sounds like the clear issue of the first guy being straight insider threat, and once work levels changed, he was just waiting to pull it. That's always a clear indicator when their work habits change unexpectedly.
Yeah, so we didn't implement the training in a formal sense, but separating each developer out to their own individual repository and pushing the code out individually to the main code base via like a multi-sig wallet, it essentially removes that. And then if we do notice that people are underperforming or that they're starting to act sketch, we have like screen recording tools in place now. I mean, we could see if they're playing Dota 2 or League of Legends when we're supposed to be pushing hard for an update. So yeah, and we also have onboarded a part-time cybersecurity guy, which has been helpful as well. So we've taken all the measures there. But if there's any like specific courses or anything that he wants to recommend, I'd feel free to hear
I
about it.
believe so. He writes in chat, two different areas of training, to be honest. Separation of duties versus insider threat. And separation of duties is big. In my accounting courses, especially lately, I'm learning a great deal about the need to separate duties with relation to administrators being in charge of, say, writing checks, cashing checks, receiving checks, and doing bookkeeping. If one person is doing all of those, obviously it's a huge threat to the company.
Yeah. No, and I mean there is quite a big separation of duties, and the people involved in each area of all the decision making, they're separated out into where, I mean, you can't really have a situation where someone could just embezzle like crazy and no one would know.
Sarge's follow-up question would be, if the bad actor is still watching, is it safe to assume that you guys have not yet closed the backdoor threat completely?
No, we have closed it completely. We've relaunched the contracts. We found the exact exploit, and we've removed every single backdoor that he could have created. I'd say it's him that needs to be watching out, and yeah.
Oh yes, and Sarge would also like to highlight that he cannot recommend you specific security protocols without first being consulted. So yeah, worth noting. He's for hire,
Thanks, Sarge.
possibly, if you're looking for a security consultant.
Appreciate it.
Master Halo 40 asks, I have seen that you recently implemented the centralized exchange APIs option for the DePo token. I would like to know how this will work and what unique and special benefits this would bring to holders or traders compared to the competition.
Yeah, so the API that we're utilizing, it's CCXT. Eventually, the idea with that is that people will be able to onboard 125 different centralized exchanges. And that essentially allows someone, like, let's say you have an account on Binance, KuCoin, like Toko, crypto exchange, and you have these accounts because you notice there's arbitrage opportunities in the market. Well, it's really hard to execute on these when you have 6 different tabs up. In DePo, you're gonna be able to have to instantly execute across these exchanges, and you're also gonna be able to track the arbitrages between these exchanges because whenever you type in an asset, it'll automatically compare them for you. Um, Basically, the benefit is just the consolidation and the transparency that DePo provides in relevance to centralized side of things as well as the rest of the market.
Okay. Master Halo also asks if you could explain in more detail how the multi-tiered referral system works and how it's divided up. What advantages does it bring when it comes to generating passive income?
Yeah, for sure. So the multi-tiered referral system is essentially a way to scale word of mouth. And word of mouth it's the number one thing in marketing. I mean, you look at Tesla, they spend literally $0 on marketing, yet they're absolutely destroying everyone else in the automotive industry. And it's because they have a superior product. We have the superior product, we have word of mouth, but we're going to scale word of mouth in way of this multi-tier referral system. And essentially the idea is, let's say Nexus, you have 10 friends and you have a link. It's depo.io/Nexus. Your friends
Yep.
sign up, they generate $10 million a year. You get 5% of whatever they generate for the rest of your life to your link. Let's say they sign up 10 guys underneath them, you get 2.5% of what they generate. Let's say those 10 guys underneath the 10 guys that you brought on have another 10 guys that get on underneath each one of them. You get 1.5% of their fees, and it goes down. I believe it's 4 or 5 tiers all the way down. But the idea is that all these thought leaders and KOLs and big influencers, even exchanges out there, they're gonna have their own links, and they're gonna want to take advantage of a passive income system, and they're gonna bring their friends on. I mean, we already have a superior product, and now they can be paid for the rest of their lives by their friends using the platform.
You mentioned that Tesla has a superior product too. I feel like I should mention that although Tesla's selling a lot of cars, they don't always have cars to buy, mostly because a lot of those cars are being recalled due to manufacturing issues. So while Tesla's very popular and they are making a lot of money, there are flaws with that product in the manufacturing department.
Oh yeah, no, there are some flaws. I mean, they've scaled extremely fast, so they're just trying to catch up to how bad people want them. I think
True.
yep, they're like 20,000 above MSRP right now. Like you could buy a used Tesla or you could buy a new Tesla way cheaper than a used one with like 20,000 miles. It's funny.
Yeah, that is a sign of high demand, isn't it? Okay. The Dave asks, I understand that such a thing won't happen again, referring to the liquidity wallet poll, but what should we do as investors if something like this at a major or even a minor level happens again? What should be our first steps at the moment we find out instead of panicking and spreading FUD?
Okay, so with the advent of our partnership with Certic, we're gonna have this thing called Certic Skynet, and it essentially tracks everything going on with the token. So if something like this were to happen, it would immediately send an alert to us, and we can have a protocol in place to where, uh, hypothetically, let's say something did happen, we'd have that alert. We'd be able to send it in the chat, and the impact of hypothetical exploit could be greatly minimized. And I think this can be done just by us continuing to bring up the Certic Skynet over and over again, and then by us repeatedly informing our community, or just having like a rap sheet available for everyone to look at if something like this would have happened again.
So basically, you guys have created an early warning system.
Yeah, that's definitely part of what we've done.
Okay. I like that. There aren't that many platforms that will do that. The most that, say, Nexo, my favorite centralized exchange, will do is send me an email that says, "This is a friendly reminder to please watch your assets price during moments of high market volatility to avoid liquidation."
Yeah, it's like who checks their email at like 2 a.m. when people do stuff like that? You know?
Yes, and that's actually exactly the time that Nexo sent me the email. Right around the time that everyone's international friend Vladimir was going on his Ukrainian vacation.
Oh my gosh.
Moving on, Tolatli asks, as an aggregator in the ecosystem, does DePo have any of its own insurance solutions? That's a great question.
Yeah, for sure. So currently we've been looking at insurance solutions, but not from a immediate development perspective. We believe that we'd like to incorporate them in the future, but they're probably not super conducive to mass user adoption right now. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely looking at that. We're just trying to focus on getting our main product line out first.
Okay. Zakiek asks, on the Q3 part of your roadmap, it mentions, quote, proprietary centralized exchange, decentralized exchange, and non-fungible token marketplace released. What chains are you planning to support? And if you're supporting only one, why choose that one?
So we plan to support every single chain. And like I mentioned earlier, and layer 2. Yeah, but as I mentioned earlier, we're moving the NFT marketplace like way ahead. We're trying to get that done now. And then as far as the SEC side of things, it's not necessarily going to be a centralized exchange in the sense that it's super restrictive and bows down to governments around the world. But yeah, I mean, more to come on that. It's essentially going to be the next generation of like a DYDX or of Orion.
And I like Didex. I think Didex is pretty cool, but their fees are kind of extravagant, especially when you especially when you consider the Ethereum gas that they often make users pay.
And that's a philosophy that we really don't appreciate. We feel like a lot of projects in the market, they develop something amazing, then they stop right there and they just charge extravagant fees. They don't try to have like radical generosity with how much they serve their communities, how much they're innovating.
Well, to be
'Cause, I mean,
completely fair
yeah.
to any organization, project, DAO, or DEX that tries to come out, we live in a capitalist free market society, and that means the onus isn't to be generous for goodwill. The onus is to be greedy because you want to drive that profit margin up higher. Your expense through the floor and the profit through the roof. And that's the dream of infinite growth, right?
Yeah, and I'd agree to that to a certain extent for sure.
That's not a critique on DePo. That's a critique on all of us, really. But we got to do what we can to survive. This is a harsh world.
Yep. And I mean, the market always needs to be as capitalist as possible. The issue is when the government becomes capitalist themselves, and everyone becomes a lobbyist.
Yes,
It's
where we have,
yeah.
the guys making the money are the same guys writing the rules for the people who make the money, at which point the system is broken.
Yeah, you're talking about separation of responsibilities earlier, or
Yes.
at least, you know, our new part-time guy, Sergeant, was talking about that. And yeah, I mean, it's like you literally can't have the same people making laws that have tons of stock in these companies. But anyways, I
True.
digress.
Wolf MVP asks, have you thought about a liquidity trap, perhaps, to prevent this past incident from repeating in the future?
Yeah, actually, we've thought about several ways to freeze liquidity in the advent of something like this happening again,
Okay.
and even to upgrade in the future, upgrade our platform in the future.
Yeah, and we, to a certain degree, everyone, they're going to be reluctant to give us details on this because, again, as we noted earlier, the malicious actor who did this may be in the chat right now. So, for the sake of protecting DePo and its future plans, there's only so much they'll be able to tell us on that front. Okay, Dear God of Disguise asks, have you made changes to the existing contract or just some APIs? Or excuse me, APIs. If you did make changes in the contract, can you tell us about them?
That is an interesting name, by the way. But yeah, as far as changes in the contract, some of the parameters are more free flowing and editable now on our side. The main thing is just where the contract was deployed from, and more specifically the rewards pool. But as far as like more APIs that we're utilizing on the swap side of things, we are looking at more. I know with the bridge that we're working on right now, we're working with new APIs within that, and yeah, essentially the new smart contract. It's a upgraded, improved version that's deployed from a secure address that no one has access to. So
Okay. Dear God also asks, in the white paper, you were claiming to increase cryptocurrency usage by solving a problem, which is to say, aggregating everything into one roof. Then, when I check the frequently asked questions, it says, quote, obtain an API key from each exchange you have an account for and load it into DePo's account section, end quote. So if I have to open an account on a centralized exchange and then use DePo, I don't see the meaning of DePo. If you're going to provide arbitrage opportunities, then it's worthwhile, but in a sense, that'd be ripping other projects off. What's your stance on this? Why so conflicting on the wording? Also, will I need to pay double gas fees because the exchange and platform on DePo both have a separate blockchain transaction? Or does it not work like that at all?
So it doesn't work like that at all, at least the end objective. Currently working with the CCXT API, and how we onboard these exchanges, you have to provide your API key and your API secret, which we don't plan to be a thing in the future. Essentially, we're implementing a smart contract factory on the back end to where users are going to be able to access these exchanges without having to create accounts. It'll literally be as easy as connecting your MetaMask or your proprietary DePo wallet, which we've been making amazing progress on that as well. I think some of the guys saw the Chrome extension tease the other day. But you either connect your MetaMask or that wallet, and you'll be able to access the full suite of DEX protocols we have aggregated, NFT marketplaces, multiple chains, and the sexes. And then as far as arbitrage, the reason why we think that we're solving the problem in the right way is because inefficient markets produce inefficient results. And if you look at crypto, there's all kinds of liquidity issues across the market. With DePo being able to aggregate thousands of data feeds, and utilizing the best sources of data across the entire market, we're able to present opportunities to people that other platforms just can't. I mean, we can find discrepancies in hundreds of different liquidity pool protocols and discrepancies on the centralized exchange side of things. we can arbitrage between both centralized and decentralized. We don't have to just arbitrage between centralized or decentralized. And I wouldn't say we're conflicted. It's just the stage that we're in. We're not going to release like a tier 4 product while our whole platform in itself is just in alpha stages. And that's why we don't have, the full capabilities yet, and especially arbitrage, because that's coming down the road in our product roadmap. And we're also not worth like 10 billion yet. We can't have a team of like 150 developers hammering away constantly, but it will come. It will be done. So.
Okay. Panda. That's with a little extra. In the future, is DePo team working on DePo swap gas? The user notes 1,000 DePo would at current moment give a $40 Ethereum gas fee. Is that reducible so that more people can afford it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not just focusing on Ethereum. With our bridge and our future token being accessible on other chains, users can access other chains. And as far as the gas fee, we're already 40 to 50% cheaper than everything else in the market, but we're planning to add on top of that through utilizing a subgraph method on the back end, which will essentially allow us to access these liquidity pools across the entire market without paying the third-party protocol fee, which is pretty exciting. So you see 40 to 50% cheaper now. In the future, it could be 60 to 70% cheaper. And as we work with ZK rollups, it could eventually become like Polygon almost for Ethereum.
Okay. Fair Dave UA asks, any plans on making cross-chain swaps in the platform?
Yes.
Nice. Marvin asks, what is the relationship between DePo and Chainlink? And does this relationship hold anything for DePo in the future?
I'd say we're very close, and it definitely holds a lot for us in the future. We're actually going to be working with them more closely over the coming months. We're integrating a lot more of their features. And some things I could name drop right now are their keepers and their proof of reserve, which we're going to be utilizing quite heavily, along with their price feeds here. So
cool. 101009 asks, your roadmap says you plan to launch bonds. What can you tell us about the bond launch?
yeah, for sure. So with bonds, the idea is to make DePo a decentralized reserve currency. We don't just want to create bonds just for the sake of joining the hype train, but we actually want to create a sustainable ecosystem within DeFi. Our bonds will feature a index in which every single bond will go towards a treasury that backs DePo directly. And DePo won't be backed directly just by one currency. It'll be backed by Bitcoin, gold, and the US dollar, which I brought up earlier. And this bond treasury will be connected to sub-treasuries, which have DAO and governance capabilities with yield AMM tokens on the stable and DeFi side of things. And essentially, everything will just feed into one another. And the treasury backing the DePo token will be indexed, and it will be more stable than the US dollar, while at the same time having an ability to appreciate and retain value, unlike, some of the other failed bond protocols we see now.
Yes, of which there are many.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
101009 also asks, we said that almost 18 million got wiped off by the malicious actor, and and DePo lodged complaints about that with relevant authorities. Is there any certainty, or I guess I'd add hope, that the funds will be recovered?
I'd say there's a lot of hope. I mean, currently, if we find out what we're trying to find out right now, we might not even have to go down an entirely. Well, basically, yes, there is certainty. I believe that if we find out the details we're trying to find out right now, that the funds will be returned almost immediately, and we wouldn't have to go down a legal route for the next several years or whatever. So I think the funds can be returned for sure if these details are discovered. So
Okay. I love this community. You guys are the best. These questions are banging. Angel Best 26 asks, I would like to know what the most important thing for DePo is, what it needs to shine, and have confidence that everything will be fine in the future.
I'd say short term is getting our revenue streams out and providing utility to users regardless of what market we're in. I mean, obviously, the situation with Russia and Ukraine, the media blew it out of proportion for a month. People started to take them less seriously. And then, of course, that's when Russia attacks. So
Yep.
I think we're relatively near, the macro market bottom right now. But regardless of what the market does, once we have our product line out and we're providing utility everywhere, people are going to inevitably use our product and they're going to hold our token. Because, I mean, if our token is more stable than the US dollar, if it's balanced or if it's backed by an index of solid major cap assets, and if it literally pays you to hold it, and it still provides utility even in a down market, there's no reason for the project not to continue to thrive and grow rapidly even in a market like this, which is what our aim is to do right now, is to get a lot of these revenue building products out there, and along with that, more utility for the token holders themselves.
Very cool. Broken Blue Goldfish Sammy asks, I heard you're going to have an affiliate marketing strategy, but the affiliate marketing strategy also sounds like a pyramid. So can you explain that up a bit? Before we let TJ explain it, I feel like I should add a lot of crypto platforms and protocols have pyramid or pyramid-esque referral plans, and they do that because influencers are very paramount to a lot of the way they work. So just figured I would preface that.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at any hierarchical system across any industry across the world, it's literally a pyramid scheme. I think that's just a way for people to kind of box an idea in to something that they can understand is that they don't like it. But I mean, it's been successful for hundreds of years. And the difference with us is we're not like, Shiba Inu might have a pyramid scheme, but they're not providing any real utility. It's like, it's greater fool theory. You hope the people underneath you are more stupid and that they'll hold it longer than you do. I mean, any token that doesn't provide utility, you tell anyone to get into it, you hope that they hold longer than you do so you can make your exit.
And
It's like, that's not the thing.
pyramid scheme and Ponzi scheme are often used interchangeably, but they're not the same thing.
They're not.
Yeah. A Ponzi
Exactly.
pyramid is when you have the guys at the top of the pyramid paying out the guys in the middle with money they took from the guys on the bottom. That's somewhat different than a referral pyramid in which the guy at the top is simply receiving more rewards than the guys in the middle and the bottom.
Yeah, and the people coming to the platform they actually have a purpose to be here. Like, if they're not actively and willingly making transactions on the platform, the person that referred them won't make any money. Simple as that. They get a percentage of of the fees that they generate. So if they're not generating fees and it's not providing them utility, they're not going to be using the platform, and they're not going to be generating revenue.
All right.
So like, yeah.
Yeah. If I guess we can move on because I don't want to harp on that for too long, but it's fairly important to indicate that there are a lot
Oh,
of
for sure.
platforms that use a referral system like this. But it's worth noting, if this is 5 tiers or more, this is a lot more tiers than most other referral systems will use. My minor referral systems are only 2-tiered, so after the 3rd tier, I'm not getting rewards from those referrals.
Hmm.
Broken Blue Goldfish Sammy has another question though. Different road. What is the DePo strategy in the NFT space? No matter how popular a token might be, the NFT space is a tough nut to crack. So how are you going to bring someone new to crypto, for example, to the NFTs of DePo?
Sure. So we have the fiat on ramp, in which someone new to crypto, they can just hook up their credit card and make a MetaMask, and boom, they have the crypto available to buy NFTs. But then as far as getting into the NFT space, I mean, just the fact that people trust in Depot so much, and the fact that all the other major platforms out there have given people reasons not to trust them, and that we're providing utility in the sense that the NFT marketplace revenue will be shared, and we're providing utility in the sense that we're going to be charging 200% less fees. And the fact that we have partners willing to work with us right now, um, I mean, who have connections in the NBA and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot, and essentially, I'd say just our strategy is just providing the most utility, and finding several projects which we're going to make agreements with upon launch to ensure a successful launch and a successful calendar afterwards. So people want to continue to go back to our NFT marketplace again and again as they realize that fees are a lot cheaper, and that we're trustworthy. Our team is fully doxed, and we're not going to be utilizing exploitable smart contracts from the outside market. So
I love me a fully doxed team, that's for sure. I have someone to
sir.
send angry emails to when the price goes down.
Well, and I mean, look at what happened to LooksRare. They drained the funds, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that.
I agree.
I was in the community chat and I asked what was going on. I immediately got blocked. And I looked on their website. I looked at the GitHubs of the people on their website. They have no commits to any repositories. So those doxed developers on their website, that's not even their real GitHubs. So they're like double doxed. But then if you look at the GitHubs and the people that follow them and the people that they're following, it's even more fishy when you realize how connected they are in the space. And the whole system, I feel like, is just a giant laundering scheme. So
There's a
we want
lot
to
of them
take
out there.
what. Oh yeah, no, and we want to take that and completely revamp it so it's trustworthy. Because I mean, looks where the UI is amazing. The mission to replace OpenSea is a noble mission, but
Yeah.
they just did it wrong and they took advantage of people. So we're gonna move into the space and do something different.
I like some good-hearted competition.
Sir.
Okay, Saint Broked asks, so, as you got some issues of liquidity, how can you now convince your investor to invest in DePo for large amounts and long term? And why choose ETH as a starter chain? Because Matic and BSC are faster and have lower gas fees.
So Ethereum is the most well-established chain in the space, and also doing a case study of investors, they tend to agree with this. Well, it might not be obvious unless you look at the numbers. Our base core followers, or core holders. It's about 4,000 people. And if you look at projects similar to us on the BSC, it's literally like 5 to 10 times as many holders. Um, and I don't know. I mean, the BSC, it also has a history of rug pulls. It's like the wild, wild west. I've worked in the BSC. I worked in a top 5 project in Binance's accelerator program. I know what it's like. Ethereum just seemed like the way to go. And then what was the beginning part to that question again? Sorry.
Oh, no problem. It was about sort of referencing the liquidity wallet farm issue that
Yes,
we had, and essentially how to convince an investor,
for
like
sure.
to be comfortable knowing that happened. How would you
Absolutely.
convince an investor to feel comfortable about buying a large amount of DePo and not letting
Yep.
go?
So I convinced them with exactly the thing that we've been doing. I mean, as soon as that incident happened, we completely revamped our development. Our output is increased so much. We have 18 developers, like I mentioned. Our lead is insanely good at what he does. And then just continuing to be transparent with the community, like we've been, releasing things in a timely but more importantly efficient manner for the community so they have the maximum impact on the market, and building the inherent utility in the token to where they'd want to hold it in the first place, and not just for the sentiment that they might feel is in the market. So yeah, getting our revenue share out, bonding the token, releasing things in a timely manner, but most importantly being transparent and open to any community criticism about what's going on, so they can absolutely understand where we're coming from, and we can both be on the same level of understanding.
Okay. Energetic has a very interesting question. They ask, quite simply, why will DePo keep its promise with revenue sharing? And if I could do a little bit of interpreting, I believe what the user is trying to ask is, what assurances can you, TJ, give us as potential investors that DePo is going to hold to the revenue share promise?
um just look at Etherscan. I mean, it's going to be available right in the blockchain. Everyone that uses our swap will interact with our depot routing contract. You'll be able to see the amount of ETH that goes in and the amount of ETH that goes back out to our users. Like I said, it's 50% split back to the treasury, continuing to develop the project, and 50% directly back to our users whenever they claim.
Gotcha. Fairtays asks, is there any chance of migrating from ETH to BSC? Which I believe you said yes.
Yes. So with the advent of our bridge, or our bridging mechanisms coming on board, we do plan to actively like list a wrapped token on major decentralized exchanges on these other blockchains.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I have contacts with PancakeSwap, with ApeSwap, to name a few. And as we go down the line, we're gonna want a major point of liquidity across every single chain, of course. So we definitely plan to be accessible for everyone, regardless of what chain you use.
All right. Wolf MVP. While you have been busy with various tie ins and partnerships as of late, the Discord, I believe referring to DePo Discord, has been a bit dry at the moment. Do you guys think you're going to get some more attention going in the Discord by, say, having regular airdrops or something like that?
Um, I think we're gonna get more attention in the Discord with just the community turning around and realizing how much we've continued to develop, and us providing real utility. I wish it was as easy as that formula. Like, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
drop $100 worth of depot every hour. You know, people are just gonna come for a handout. You know, we
Yeah.
want to provide real. Yeah,
Well,
we want to
that's a
provide.
challenge that some of these project discords I've seen go through, where they will get a token, say their proprietary one listed, or use something cheap like XRP. That's a big one. And they'll airdrop a regular Ripple in their server. And instead of creating the hype that they want, what they get instead is a rain chat that's full of sort of people begging for cash. So
Yeah. But I do definitely think community sentiment has been picking up, and it's going to continue to pick up. I mean, we just listed on a top 10 centralized exchange, and although Putin decided to attack the same day, we're still building, and I think it's a good check on the roadmap for our community, and yeah, just going to keep on pushing forwards.
Saint Broked in chat. I just want to address that DePo doesn't have any control over the price point, as many of projects don't. The market volatility that DePo and all these other tokens relative to the prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum are seeing is not something that many of these projects have the ability to control. So if the price of DePo is your concern, that's not really on the table for this.
I'd say, yeah, I'd say if you look at the price, like people are always afraid to invest in a down market. They'd rather invest in an up market. But then again, most people lose money whenever they trade. And if you look at the most famous traders in the world, like even Warren Buffett said this, people make money in the bear markets. Like the price and the PA that you see with DePo right now, it's not indicative of our project. It's indicative of the overall market. People just want to be safe, relatively speaking, and yeah, I mean, in the future too, we will be able to control this to a certain extent through the token backing, through backing the token with what people considered safe assets as well. So.
And it's worth noting, any crypto coin that suffers a giant liquidity rug pull like DePo did and still manages to maintain a price above, I'm just gonna say it now, 1 penny. If that thing is worth over a penny, then that project is fine. They are not dead. There is still more rug to be pulled by holders should they get nervous, but they were around 31 cents when the rug pull happened, and they only dropped 45 to 50%. So
yep,
it's
like
that's confidence to me. That's a bullish sentiment.
Thank you. Yeah, because I mean, we peaked at like 100x our IDO price. Even after that happened, even after Russia happened, we're still at 25x our IDO price. Like people are still confident in the project, and if you look at our roadmap, we're not even like 25% done. Like the impact that you've seen on our token price, it hasn't even started yet. Like millions of people around the world haven't even picked up on the utility that DePo provides. Like not even the crypto community has. People are still using Uniswap. They're still using 1inch. Yep. They're not getting paid to hold a token. Like we're here and we're here to stay, and this is just the beginning.
All right, USMB2. What made you come back to have another AMA with this awesome community, if I may ask?
You said it yourself. It's an awesome community. Absolutely love you guys.
We really appreciate it, brother. And USMB2's final question. The big crypto market of South Asia is so skeptical after the big liquidity rug pull. How are you going to reinstill confidence in this particular market now?
Mm-hmm. So I'd say, I mean, first of all, listing with Gate was strategic. They're based in China, and
Gate.io is big.
Yeah, they're huge. They're huge, and I mean that's big with Southeast Asian investors. But then, of course, building on popular chains. down there. So the BSC is really popular. A lot of developing countries, people there, they can't afford a $60 Ethereum gas fee. So the BSC is huge, and I mean, we want to build on something that's accessible for everyone for sure. So I'd say, focusing on our partnership with Gate, building into the BSC, launching a wrap token, launching with someone big like PancakeSwap or ApeSwap, whatever it may be, partnering with other exchanges in the area, building out a team that has the same native language as the specific area that we're targeting. So the Southeast Asian languages. And yeah, working with celebrities in the area, which it's actually funny how much this person is on the ball. We're talking with, there's one contact I have she works with this famous family of influencers in the Philippines, who collectively have over 20 million followers. There's another person we're talking to based in Indonesia, who's a movie star, has a lot of connections in the space, and plan on working with both of them and having both of them evangelize about DePo. So it's actually funny. One of them was working for DePo way back when. We just didn't have the actual product out to market it to that entire audience yet. Which now we're coming up on that, and we're going to be able to push hard in those markets. So.
All right, and with that, we basically reached the end of our question and answer portion of the show. We've gone a little over an hour, as we always aim to do, and I'm incredibly grateful for TJ coming, along with the community's questions. They were great.
Heck yeah.
Did you have any sort of final remarks before we get to the rewards portion of the show?
Not specifically, besides, I'll reiterate, I love your guys' community. I love coming on for a chat with you, Nexus. And, yeah.
Well, I always love talking to you, TJ.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I would certainly direct your attention to the pinned messages in the chat channel, as each of these users is eligible to be chosen for more rewards. You know us. We love more rewards.
Okay. I like the one about the Southeast Asian markets, for sure.
Oh, yes. I concur. That was a good choice.
And is there 3?
That'd be USMB2. Yeah, we'll usually offer 3, but we've been known on occasion to let the visitor pick all 5 with occasional caveats.
Okay. I think Devil had a couple good questions at the beginning there. So definitely could pick him, USMB2. And then why not Sarge? I like the guy's ambition.
I
Also
gotta love
appreciate
Sarge's ambition. You want Sarge to get a reward?
Yeah.
All right, I'm
So I'm
okay
a
with
picky.
it. I'm okay with it. Cool, so that's 3. You want to leave the other 2 up to me and the boys to decide, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, no problem. Excellent. All right, we'll get those other 2 winners picked here shortly. For now, I'm going to go ahead and count us out. This has been, as always, another amazing presentation from the Wolves of Alt Street. I am your host, Nexus, and your guest today was TJ Dunham from Team DePo, who has overcome an incredible liquidity rug pull and continued to truck forward with their project's very ambitious plans. I wish DePo all of the best in this regard. None of the information you heard is to be construed as financial advice. Please, at all times, do your own research and be responsible investors with your own crypto and your stable coins. Stay curious,
All right.
stay safe, and to all of our viewers in Eastern Europe, take care out there.
Praying for you guys. We are DeFi. We are DePo. Thank you.